So that was my prove myself time, and I would say yes to every job, even if I didn't know how to do it, until I was in a position to say no.
What's going on? You're listening to episode 61 of the Perspective Podcast, and I'm your host, Scotty.D.Russell of Perspective Collective. This show is about carving out time to build something for yourself and about being open to seeing things from a different perspective, hence the title. I want to share what is and isn't working for me, along with sharing my guest point of view. And let's just start this off real quick. I have one massive announcement for you. I will be back at Creative South this year teaching a workshop. And I'll be doing it with my buddy Brian Manley again, and it's called How to Craft and Deliver a Killer Talk. This is going to be a 2-part workshop, and in this workshop, we're going to equip you with the skills to overcome the fear of speaking, a game plan to craft a killer talk, the tools to prepare and deliver with confidence, and a deeper look at the art and craft of storytelling. In the second part of the workshop, you're actually going to get to step on the historic Springer Opera House stage, where thousands of famous people have spoken before, and that's where we're going to do our second part of the workshop are. So you're going to get a huge feel for like actually being in the limelight and what it's like to be in on stage and look out amongst a huge audience. So that's super cool. Like, you're not going to want to miss this experience if you want to get into public speaking. And you could sign up over at creativesouth.com and just check out the workshops page. So I'm stoked for that. You're going to hear me talk about it a little bit more coming up to rev up the promo, but this is, you can't miss out if you want to get into speaking. Today's episode is so damn good, and it's such a good switch up too from kind of the content I usually do. The guest today is Ben Haggerty, and around here in Cedar Falls, the local stomping grounds, Ben is pretty much a local legend. He's been creating content on YouTube before it was even, a cool thing to do. And now he's in LA as a content creator for the likes of Schoolboy Q, Kendrick Lamar, Chris Brown, Mary J. Blige, and EA Sports with Madden Football. I could keep going with the list. Ben's the epitome of following your dream and taking a risk when you catch a glimpse of what you're capable of creating. He went from creating music in his parents' basement to crashing on couches and air mattresses that needed bubblegum to fill holes, to the point where he is today, creating content, shooting video, and shooting photos for some of the biggest names in the music industry and the sports industry. He's also the host of Black with No Cream podcast, which is also a private Facebook group community for content creators, which we'll talk a little bit more about in this episode. He's an insanely talented individual, but most importantly, he's a humble, down-to-earth dude who doesn't forget that he came from a little town in bumfuck Iowa. You can follow along and check everything we mention in the show notes at perspective-collective.com/61. And if you think someone can find value in this episode, please give it a share on social media. It's because of your word of mouth that the show keeps on growing, and I have mad love for you for doing that. Finally, if you do catch some inspiration from the show, just go and create some work and tag me on Instagram over at Perspective Podcast. And I'm going to happily share your work with whatever audience I have there. And, I'll properly give you credit just to say thank you for, channeling some inspiration and sharing work from the show. All right. How about we just get into the show already? All right, what's going on today? I'm joined by my good local homie, Ben Haggerty, who's living in Cali these days. He's a content creator, videographer, photographer for people like Schoolboy Q, Kendrick Lamar, A$AP Rocky, you name it. Ben, what's going on, man? How you doing today?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm freaking fantastic.
Chilling.
Welcome back to
Cold weather.
Iowa in this negative 10 degree temps right now.
It is so cold.
Yeah?
Oh my God, I'm freezing.
Yeah, when you head back?
I go back home on the 2nd. So right now, what is the date? The 25th? 27th? Yeah, I go home on the 2nd. So I'm gonna chill for a little bit.
Yeah?
Just hang out, relax.
I'm glad you made time for us. For those of you who don't know about him, give us a quick, brief Wikipedia page summary about yourself.
Wikipedia page. I'm from here, Cedar Falls, Iowa, where we're at right now, and I moved out to LA a couple years ago, and just got busy right away. Hopped into a couple projects. I ended up editing Chris Brown's full documentary, which is on Netflix right now. Edited and shot some stuff for Mary J. Blige, like her documentary that came out on VH1. done a bunch of music videos with Chris and then a bunch of artists off of Chris, and ended up touring with Schoolboy Q for 4 or 5 months last year, which got me to work with like Kendrick and shoot for different people. And now I just shoot for all kinds of different people in EA Sports. I don't know how to summarize
it's a trip. That pretty much summarizes it. But how did you get started in music and creating content in the first place? Because me, to be honest, the first time I heard about you or saw you, I think I was like right out of high school or in high school, and I saw you doing Lil Wayne videos. Yep, that was my first thing. So back in the day, you were creating YouTube videos back, I think, when I was in high school.
Yeah.
So like 2002 through 2006.
Damn,
I just dated my shit right
Isn't that
there.
crazy, though?
Yeah, we're old as fuck.
I know, we're super old, dude. I mean, I just like was loving, like back in high school, I would shoot and make all our skate videos and then our snowboarding videos. And then I really wanted to go out to college and learn how to become a videographer so I could film snowboarding videos. And while I was hoping I could move to Denver someday, I was also playing music all the time. So it was like music and snowboarding were like my two loves. And eventually I wasn't good enough to snowboard and wasn't rich enough to move to Denver and go to some art school. So I just would like make music with my friends and try to learn video stuff on my own, and attended the University of Northern Iowa, which is in our hometown. And yeah, I started music. So when I met you, technically, it was like when we had created our group Schooled, and you had your clothing company, Daydreamin'. And so I think our first show ever, so School was a hip hop group. It was me and my homie Bai and my other homie Nate, who DJ'd. And so me and Bai would rap, and we would just go and play college shows or whatever. And our first show we had was at Ice Lounge, which was like a local club.
Oh, God.
And Daydreamin' sponsored it. So you guys were there, and you had like your whole table set up with all your merch. And I feel like that was like your first release, technically.
That was one of the first. Otherwise, we were kind of just running it out of D-Mac's basement at the time. So that was like first public showing at things. And then we would you would be opening for people like J. Cole and Big Crit. And I'm like, oh my God, let's get Ben a shirt. Get Ben a shirt. It's just kind of like you were one of our little first sponsors at the time.
Yeah, it was tight. We were Daydreamin' every day.
So long ago. I still got that photo of like you, me, and Bai.
Yep.
We had that little photo shoot outside of McDonald's.
By McDonald's at first. Yeah, we set out. We were like, let's do a photo shoot. We go to McDonald's and sit outside to eat ice cream or something.
It was dope photos.
I don't know. They were tight. I love those photos.
That's so
I
funny.
still have Daydreamin' merch. Like, I still have that shit.
See the
I know.
hats up there.
We're in Scotty's office right now, and I'm looking at his bookshelf. He's got a bunch of Daydreamin' hats up there. That's crazy.
Yeah, those are a trip, man. So long ago. Like, yeah, I'm like, oh my God, my friend's on stage opening for some of these big names, and we're just from little Cedar Falls, Iowa. So it's been a trip. So then, okay, I think you're a bigger risk taker than I am, and you reap a lot of those rewards, because I would never have the stones to just jump and move my life to California. So like, how did that all happen? The story about it, I heard in your podcast with Travis Lloyd, you briefly talked about how you just had to get up, go to Los Angeles, and shoot a video for Chris Brown.
I always knew that I wanted to move. I always knew that there was more success possibilities in a bigger city, and whether it was Minneapolis, which is only 3 hours from us, Chicago 5 hours, LA halfway across the United States, it was like I needed to go. And so even in music, when we were playing in these groups, we were playing like with all these artists, like Machine Gun Kelly, all these different Waka Flocka. We played with everybody that would come through. And I just knew,
Prob Cause.
That was
the dope. Yeah, I love that guy.
Yeah, that was
great
tight.
You had him.
Yeah, so it was like we played with all these guys, and I knew that we could keep opening for artists, but our better chances were going to be if we could be around them more often in like a Los Angeles. And so I kept trying to push everyone to go, and no one really wanted to go, and it's hard to take that risk. Like you said, it's very hard, and everyone has full-time jobs, all this stuff. So as that kind of deteriorated, I knew I needed to be there. And it was tough because my mom had just like got done with her chemo for her second time, and like I had my girlfriend, and I was making decent money starting to do like random work here, like as far as photo video work goes. So I had to get up and leave, and it was just getting a taste of one trip out to LA where I got to work on a Chris Brown music video that my friend plugged me with, and I shot all the behind the scenes for it. And I came back to Iowa and went back to like the normal thing, and I was like, nah, that was. If I could do that, if I could get on set and just be with the superstar and be around that, I can do it again. So I need to get back there and just keep working. So I don't know. I set a date, made a budget goal for myself, a gear list goal for myself. I said I need this camera, this lens, this drone, this amount of money to float myself for the next 2-3 months, and I'm just going to go. Once I hit it, I'm going to go. And I hit it, I booked the ticket, and I left.
Well, and I don't want people to think like you just moved to California and shit just started off with a bang. You were rolling in tons of cheddar, honeys, all that stuff.
Yeah,
like it wasn't the case for you. Like you were sleeping on a couch at times, weren't you? And grinding, doing videos till late in the morning.
Oh my God.
All powered by caffeine, which we'll talk about in a little bit too.
But we literally, I moved there, and basically, like, long story short, I moved there to my friend's house. He let me stay at his crib. He had a really cool house that was like set up for artists. So fast forward through the time I was there, we had different artists like label mates of Kendrick Lamar that would come and record there. Zachary, I don't know if you listen to Kendrick's new album with the song Love Me. That kid that sings that is my old roommate. Like, me and him both slept on couches and air mattresses at that house. So, like, all these artists would come through and make music and stuff, and I would just have this little corner, and I set up an air mattress that actually I didn't even have enough money for. My girlfriend bought me the air mattress and shipped it on Amazon to my house, and, like, that was, like, a game changer for me.
That's true love.
Yeah, true love for sure. And she's living in Iowa, like, trying to figure out what my goals are. And so I have this air mattress. I lived on that for, I want to say, like 14 months, basically, in and out of that and couches, between that and couches and a couple different houses. I was bouncing around, working on amazing projects, but getting paid very little because I was just trying to get my name out there. And these companies will know, like, what you're willing to do for a certain extent until you realize, like, your value. So, oh, cool. They put you through that loop of, trust me, you want to do this because you're going to get this. And so you have to deal with that.
Or paid an exposure, like most of the people in my audience deal with all the time. Like,
all
we'll
the
pay
time.
you an exposure. You know?
Yeah.
It's way better than money but you also have to prove yourself in the beginning.
Absolutely. So that was my prove myself time. And I would say yes to every job, even if I didn't know how to do it, until I was in a position to say no. You know what I mean? Until I got there. So that was it. I instantly was working on a Chris Brown documentary. There was one time, I talk about this all the time, but I went to Staples Center and I ended up shooting Taylor Swift and Mary J. Blige performing for, I think it was her record-breaking. I think Taylor Swift had performed at Staples Center so many times in a row that she beat Michael Jackson. That's how many times she played.
She's a beast.
Yeah, it was one of those nights where I'm sitting there, I'm with her backstage. Hilary Duff is there, which I was like, you know, my Disney crush back in the day.
Lizzie McGuire?
Yeah, Lizzie McGuire. All these people are there, and it's Taylor Swift and Mary, and I'm just chilling with both of them. Then I go on to shoot Mary's documentary, which was sick, but, like, I shot that show, and I was in, like, the most VIP of VIP. Like, I am back in her room with her. And then I went home, and I slept on my air mattress that had 4 holes, and I was literally taking my gum and trying to, like, patch a hole because I wasn't making money. I was just trying to get what I could do to, like, build my brand or build my name, you know? So it's, like, kind of crazy when you think about all the shit we did. But
humble beginnings, man. But, dude, you've been chasing this shit ever since I've known you.
You got a front row seat.
Yeah,
for sure.
I've seen all of the growth and the change. I remember the day you moved out there.
Yeah, man.
So you consider yourself a content creator, and sometimes in this world, content creator can be a little bit vague.
Right.
But for me, I create content, but at the same time, I create art that means something. So what does creating content mean to you, and how are ways that people can create content, whether it's through art or photography, and, you know, tie some kind of value? Maybe they're educating someone through their art or photography, or inspiring. So, like, what's content mean to you? Because it's more than just creating content. Anybody can create some content.
Absolutely. And having meaning behind it is a whole nother game, which I say that all the time. I just truly think content tells stories, right? Like, if you create good content that can tell a story, then you're doing something right. Because you're right, I can go take a brand new $5,000 camera out tomorrow and go stand somewhere and take a picture of a tree and be like, look what my new crispy camera got me, is this cool photo. And I could blow it up and print it out and go to a coffee shop and put it on a wall and say, buy it for $600. But everyone's going to walk in and not have a clue what that story, or like what the story is to that tree. And when they ask you and you have no definition, you're fucked. Oh, that tree's, it was just right there across the street from the camera store. I just took it, now buy it. $600. That's what I want to make.
Here's my muffin from Panera.
Exactly. Yeah. So to me, I just always try to find a way to tell a story. And I think that everyone has the ability to do that. And I think everyone has a story. So the ability to create content, all the means are there. We can learn on YouTube. You don't have to go to a 4-year college anymore these days to be able to figure out how to make this shit. If you want to draw, motherfucker. Just draw until you start seeing change, and use that and tell stories with it, right? So I don't know. For me, it's just tell a story. Find the best way to tell a story. I feel like I tangent too much.
No. That's great, because a lot of people think it's just create content, put something out there. But in my eyes, yes, you're telling a story. You're creating an experience for someone. You know, that's huge. Or I think before you post something, you know, regardless if you're doing it for yourself or not, I think there's a point if you're building your own personal brand and you post something, it's like, why the fuck should anybody care about this?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and if it's storytelling and experience or, you know, entertainment or educational, you know, I think those are the routes, and you just got to find, you know, the way that you can tell that story the best.
Yeah, and I think being able to like take a risk on how you do tell stories, because I see a lot of creators, and especially in my field being the video photo world more or less. I do a lot of concert photography, right? So if I'm shooting concerts or I'm filming concerts, I always see the photographers who aren't really willing to take that extra step to go get a new moment. And I see it all the time. And there was one time where we were backstage for one of Schoolboy Q's shows. It was like a Budweiser event. It was like super low key, maybe 300-400 people in this back alley. It was weird. And A$AP Rocky came up and Tyler, the Creator, were there. So we're all backstage. And I see them, and I see my homie Macwop, who's Q's DJ, and I'm like, hey, man, I need you to introduce me to Rocky, because when we were on tour, Q told me Rocky was texting him like, yo, who's your video guy? That shit's tight. Like, the videos are cool. And I'm like, I love Rocky. Like, that dude's music is the shit, and I've been listening to it since day one. So I was like, oh, yeah, I'll meet him someday. But I never like to push it. And then we were backstage, and I'm like, all right, this is how I'll push it. Macwop, you should intro me to remind this dude that I was the guy he was talking about before, and it'd be cool if he remembers. And so he's like, all right, let's go right now. And I was like, no, not right now, like later. He just grabs me like, let's go. And he goes, hey, Rocky, this is my guy, blah, blah, blah. This is the video guy, yada, yada, yada. And he's like, oh, shit, all right, cool. Well, if you're good with Macwop, then you're good with me, and whatever. He was really cool. And he goes, so what you need? And I'm like, nothing, man. I don't need anything. And he's like, no, what do you need? What do you need? And I was like, nothing. He's like, dude, get an exclusive pic. And I mean, he's just offering, like, dude, take a cool photo of me because I bet you would want that. And I was like, nah. I told him no. I was like, nah, I don't want it because I've already been back here and I've seen all the other photographers take the same photo of you. I don't want it. He's like, take the picture, dude. And I was like, all right, cool. I'll take the picture. So I took a picture of whatever. It was just him and Macwop. And I was like, I probably won't ever post that. Because then when he got on stage, those photographers weren't on stage. Those photographers weren't crawling on speakers to get new advantage points of photos. And when I took those photos, like if I go to my Instagram as far as impressions go and like see what, those are like some of the biggest pictures that I've ever taken today, is because I'm sitting there hanging off of a side of a speaker that is definitely not stable. Even though the security guard told me on the other side not to do it, I was like, all right, I'm going to hop up there, get this photo. Right when this beat drops, it's going to be epic, and I'm going to get the still, and they're all going to remember that. And I did, and I was different, and no one else was getting those photos. And that's like the difference in telling a story, is that, yes, we were all there. Yes, we could all walk up and take a picture. No, not everyone was going up there to take a still image. You know what I mean? No, that's how I tell my stories. It's like find a new way to...
Pushing limits.
Yeah,
coloring outside the box.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I love that.
You've created content for people like Schoolboy Q, obviously Kendrick Lamar, Chris Brown, big things like EA Sports, and working with Lil Dicky, Rob Gronkowski, and Antonio Brown.
And Von Miller.
Yeah. You know, what's been the craziest project to date for you?
Honestly, that job with Lil Dicky was probably one of the crazier ones. I think they're all crazy because every day it's a new development, right? I look at it like I don't just clock in and clock out, and it's not the same thing to expect. Every day is different. So I'm constantly lying. I'm constantly saying, yeah, I can do that, and then I have to figure it out on the fly.
Oh, my God, dude, that's huge.
Right?
I can't. This whole year of growth has happened by saying yes to things that scare me, that I don't know what I'm going to do.
You have to.
I'm going to go paint on a brick mural on a new restaurant, and I have no idea what I'm doing.
In front of people.
In front of people. So, that's great, man.
No.
What's an example of, you know, saying yes to something and then figuring out along the way? Because we're creatives. Yeah. Every creative, the underlining tone is we're problem solvers.
I'll talk about the Lil Dicky job because that was crazy for me. I'm sitting here in LA, living on the floor. I'm working with my homie Andrew Sandler, who's directing Chris's documentary, Mary's documentary. He's producing all 30-some Chris Brown music videos. He's got over 1 billion views on like all his videos, and so I've been his wingman. You know what I mean? So I've been helping him, and I'm seeing how to direct big budget content, and I've never done it, right? But I've directed and created content on the fly all the time, and I knew I could handle it. My homie Marcus, who we both know, hit me up. He's at EA Sports, used to live in Iowa, and basically he was like, yo, I have this job. I need you to direct it. It's for Madden 16, I want to say. And it was like their big reveal that Rob Gronkowski was on the cover. And so they wanted me to create the content. They're like, we're going to give you a shit ton of money, and you need to come up with an idea, and we need to execute it the same day we shoot the cover for the game. So that was it. And I was like, okay, are they gonna need to see like my director's reel or anything? Because I think that's usually how it works, and I definitely don't have one. Like I've done a bunch of cool shit, and I know you guys see it, but like that's not me directing that stuff. I'm just curating pieces that help it happen. He's like, nah, I already know you're good enough. Like I'm the guy, so that's it. And I just had to be like, okay, and I said yes, and then they wired us a lot of money, like scary amounts of money, and I had to figure out how to deal with that. And then I also had to come up with creative. And that all had to happen within 4 days. 4 days. We shot 4 days after all that shit happened. So not only am I having to decide, okay, cool, we got to produce this. We have to get all the people that are going to help me shoot this shit. And I have to be creative. And I have to think of something funny. And I have to think of things that'll work. And I'm like taking lunch or dinner meetings with Lil Dicky and his team. And we're like coming up with creative ideas on that. Turns out he's a fucking huge sports fan. So he already had a shit ton of great ideas
ready to go.
Yeah, him on the fly was so sick. He was so fucking funny. And so, yeah, I just said yes to it and figured it out as I went. And it was the most stressful day of my life. And I remember going back because I knew I was going to be able to get a studio apartment by then. I was paying $1,200 a month for my studio, and it was furnished, so I didn't have any of my own shit in there. I had like a closet full of some t-shirts. And when we finished that Little Dicky job, I like came back and I just remember laying in my bed. So exhausted mentally and physically, just sitting there like, holy shit, I did it. You know what I mean? It was like the craziest feeling ever.
You can link me up with some of those reels too that I can plug in the show notes.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Word.
Yeah, I'll send you those.
I had like a little spotlight episode on you last year before I started doing interviews, and I might be able to rip them on that January last year. Oh my god, it's already been
crazy,
a year.
Right?
About damn time we get you on the show.
I know,
Holy
it's
shit.
tight. I'm glad to be here, dude.
Okay. I guess I have to know, what's it like being on tour for someone like Schoolboy Q? You know, what's being on, like, he's got a bus, I'm assuming.
Yeah, we had.
And you were creating vlogs and stuff for him.
Yeah.
Like, what is something like that? Some of the biggest hip hop names in the industry. Like, that dude is already crazy.
Yeah, he's got huge songs. Such a crazy fan base. We were on tour. I think we had two buses with two trailers, and so it's the artist bus and then your production bus. And we were doing this. He was playing like new markets, so we were going to theaters that he hasn't been to or yet. So it's like a lot of different types of shows. And so we're going, and it's me on the artist bus with Q, his security guard, his like road manager, the homies. That's basically it. And then the production bus had like his personal trainer on it, all the people that run the lights and sound and all the merch and shit. They're on the other bus. So I always was nervous because I like don't smoke, and I am like I was allergic, like deathly allergic to smoke in general as when I was a kid. So I've never smoked anything in my life. And I'm going on tour with the dude that is known for smoking. Like that's his. Like he's like the Wiz Khalifa. You know what I mean?
Jars.
Yeah, just weed, mad weed. He loves weed. And so I was thinking, fuck, like I'm gonna go and not be able to breathe the whole time. I don't know what it's gonna be like. But the buses are like super ventilated really well, and so it wasn't an issue. But yeah, man, it was like. We go to a new venue every day. We pull up.
You went international with him too, didn't you?
Yeah, we went around the world. We went to we did all of U.S. We did Canada. Then we went to New Zealand, Australia. Then we went to all of Europe and the U.K. and Iceland in like 4 months. That's pretty crazy. And that was cool because then we switched. We had two buses in the U.S. and then when we went over there, we only had one because we had a smaller team. And but it was a double-decker bus. That's why all their buses are double-decker. So we're like super tall up, and you have like this cool view. It was such a dope experience. I love touring.
Shout out to your girlfriend, I guess, right now.
Yes.
How have you been able to balance the relationship? Because that's no joke.
No, that's just not easy at all.
And for the record, she's out in Cali with you now, right?
Yeah, the story is actually not funny, but funny, I guess, if you look at it that way from the stance of like when I moved to LA, I was out there for a year and a half or whatever before she moved. And so finally she gives up, not finally, but eventually once I was stable enough and I had my own space, I wasn't trying to make her live on an air mattress with me. But once I got a spot, she moved out to LA, and we went back, grabbed all of her stuff. She ended it with all of her clients. She does like hair, makeup, eyelashes, nails and stuff. So she basically is like, yo, I'm moving. And she killed off all her clients and they're all going to other places. And so we drive out to LA, and we're out to LA for like 2 weeks, and she's miserable because it's LA and she's new, and she's from Dike, Iowa, which is like the smallest town.
Tinier than where we're living right
now.
And
then I get this call, yo, we want you to go on tour with Schoolboy Q, out of nowhere, and I had to go like in 2 weeks, and so we have to sit there and decide. It was one of the most stressful things, and I end up going. she went back to Iowa and chilled with her parents for the next 4 months because she didn't know anybody. She didn't have a job. And so while I'm out on tour, she's back at home trying to salvage some of her old clients and get money while she's there. And it's just not ideal at all. And then finally the tour is over. And she didn't even know how big Q was. Like, to her, she wasn't familiar with his music. So at the time, she thought it was like me going on tour with like our school. Yeah, like my group. She's like thinking I'm just going out with these dudes or whatever. She had no idea. Like, we're in Germany with Q, and he gets nominated for 2 Grammys. Like, I'll remember that forever because it was like I got some of the best advice from him later that night. And was
that the Man of the Year?
No, this was from his most recent album. It was best hip hop album was one of the nominations for Blank Face LP.
Blank Face, okay.
Yeah, best hip hop album, and I can't remember what the other one was. He got nominated for 2 though, and so she didn't realize it until then. And then all of a sudden on her Pandora, she's recognizing that the songs she's been listening to forever are Q's records, and then now she understands it. Yeah. So it wasn't easy and shit, but it definitely catapulted my career, and she understands the value of what it was and understands why I had to do it. It's not like everyone's been asking me to go on tour since then, like Kyle, Super Duper Kyle, I'm getting high. That was a terrible version of his song. Those aren't the lyrics.
I can edit it out.
Yeah, whatever. No, you just add in the real song. No, you leave it. But anyway, like, these people are hitting me up all the time to go on tour, and even Kendrick's tour, and it's just like pick and choose your battles or whatever for what's worth it. But I'm trying to build something way bigger than just me being on the road and being by myself. I want to empower other creators, which is why I started Black with No Cream and why
perfect segue.
Yeah.
And did this all come? So Black with No Cream, I'll ask you about that in a second, but I feel like you saw an opportunity because how many people over the years have just asked you questions on what social media tips or what equipment that you use or what's your schedule, how do you package things up, and how do you reach out and connect with all these people? So is that kind of what led to you seeing the bigger picture of what you wanted to create?
Yeah, so I'm constantly getting messages. Literally is insane. Even like my Instagram isn't even cracking. Like, I have like half the amount of you do, and I have like maybe 18,000, 19,000 people that follow me, and that's just from being on tour and the documentaries coming out and stuff like that. So I picked up some.
It's grown quickly though, in the last year.
Yeah, and while being on tour, I'm getting so many messages in Instagram, like DM. Some of them are asking to get into the show and stuff, but a ton of them are like photographers interested in how did you do this? What cameras do I get? All this shit. They're asking so many questions, and from being from the Midwest, it's like, I used to do that shit. I was sitting here trying to figure out how to get schooled to the next level. I remember, this is hilarious, I remember sitting in my mom's basement, which we built our studio in my parents' basement. Shout out to them for letting us do that and crack music off every day till like 4 in the morning. And so we're in the basement, and I remember we put out a song, and I saw DJ Mo Beats put it on Twitter, like looking for the hottest new artist, blah, 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 blah. DJ Mo Beats is Big Sean's DJ. I remember seeing him in Iowa City one time, and Big Sean's like, this is my brother, blah, blah, blah. I've known him forever, yada, yada. So I followed him, and he makes cool little vlogs. So I'd watch his vlogs to learn what do artists do behind the scenes. Because Big Sean would put out vlogs, but they'd be quick or whatever. This is another way to get more angles. You know what I mean? I wanted to figure out what the crew did. I did the same thing with Mac Miller and all of his homies. So I'd follow all these people to learn what they do. And so I remember reaching out and be like, I wrote this ridiculous email. I got to pull it up sometime. Blah, 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 dude, I really think we have what it takes, all this shit. Same thing everyone else says. Sent it, no response. It is what it is. Fast forward to like a year and a half later, now me and him are homies. And I remember tweeting about some shit about how he edits his videos on Final Cut, and I said he should use Premiere. And then as I'm doing it, my friend's there, and he goes, oh, I know Mobies. That's my boy, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, oh, really? In the tweet, I'm like, hey, I'm with this dude, and he says he knows you. And he's like, oh, yeah. And he follows me randomly. I don't know why he followed me because of that. But then I DM him, and I'm like, hey, man, I'm working on this Chris Brown doc, blah, blah, blah. I fly drones. If you need any footage, like whatever, your vlogs are cool. He's like, yeah, bet. I'm in Europe with Rihanna and Big Sean. And when I get back, I'm going to hit you up. The first day he got back, he called me, pulled up to the house. We sat there and chopped it up for whatever. And since then, we've just known each other. Like, been homies.
But it's not like anybody has just openly handed you all this information. It all sparked with having some kind of initiative and hunger to learn this stuff. And a lot of people miss the fact that you have to dig in, get your hands dirty, and do your own damn research.
100%.
After just being ambushed with all these same questions, what made you realize, like, hey, I want to build something that's a little bit bigger than myself, a community which is Black with No Cream. Tell people about what that is and, you know, how they might be interested in it too.
Well, like the ultimate issue was that as I'm getting these messages from kids asking me the same shit I was asking Mo Beats, I felt obligated to try to respond because I know how it feels to not get responded to. You know what I mean? I eventually got that response, but like I know what it feels like, and I did it all the time. And sometimes you just need a tidbit, like just give me a little secret or give me a little push or whatever, motivation. And so I would, on tour, I'm the one that is sitting there, and I will respond to every single message.
And it takes a lot of work
takes
getting
a lot
back
of
to
time.
people, man. But that one little interaction can change everything.
And it was crazy because people would respond like, I can't even believe you responded. Oh, my God, bro, blah, 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 blah. Check me out on this. And so I would try to give these responses, and I hated it because I wasn't giving the full detailed response that I would. Like, if you called me outside of a show and we chopped it up for 20 minutes, we'll have a good conversation.
Yeah.
An Instagram direct message, I don't know who you are. I don't know what you want to do. I don't know what your passions are. I don't know what you're trying to film or shoot
and you're
or whatever.
Probably repeating the same responses and the same follow-up questions.
Yeah.
So, like, how can you package it up?
So that's why Black with No Cream comes, because I'm like, okay, what if I created a space where all these people that are have questions could come into a community where we could all ask the questions, and their idea is like, hey, come ask me this in Black with No Cream. And when you do, I might not be able to respond, but I guarantee you someone else will, and they might even be more knowledgeable than me in the subject. You know what I mean? So you might ask me about what lenses should I get to shoot wedding videos. Dog, I don't shoot wedding videos, but I guarantee you this kid from Arkansas that saw me on tour that's now in Black with No Cream, and that's his full-time gig, will know every single answer about what lenses, why you should get primes over this, blah, 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 blah. Like, that'll happen. And I started this Facebook group. I made it private. I said, hey, you got to answer these questions to get in, which just tell me like what kind of content creator you are. So people would ask me, hey, blah, 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 this, and this. I said, yo, go here. Trust me. Go here. I started this for you. And they would go, fill out the questions, they get in. The first day I launched it, I had 30 people join. And I saw a kid say, yo, what's up? I'm from Vegas, and I'm a rapper, and I really want to start getting into music videos. Like, I hope this group will help me do that. Immediately, there's a comment. Dude, I'm from Las Vegas, and I shoot music videos. We should collaborate.
Link them up, man.
Instantly,
That's
without
awesome.
me saying a word, these two dudes became friends in their own city, and that was because of a group that I just randomly started. So that was the inspiration. There was nothing else about it. Like, I didn't think of it as like it could be a brand. I didn't think of it as anything. I just thought, yo, what if I could create a space where these people could come and exist? And I happen to drink black coffee. I feel like content creators drink a shit ton of coffee or soda or whatever it is, Monsters and shit. So I'm like, all right, cool. I like black coffee with no cream. So I'm just going to call this Black with No Cream. And we'll start it off that and see what happens. And now everyone's hashtag BWNC, and they're like a part of this community, and it's worldwide. Like, it's fucking crazy. I have less than 2,000 members right now, but they're from all over, dog. Like,
so if someone wants to get more into content creating outside of what I do is drawing or podcasting or blogging, they want to get into video and photography or something along this lines, how would one find this?
Yeah, I say that it's available for content creators of all kinds. I'm like, yo, even if you draw and I don't know shit about drawing, there's another kid that draws, and they're drawing all the time to make dope videos.
So it's not just specifically niche.
No.
It's content in general.
I'll say
dancing.
I'll say dancing. I'll say if you want to be a manager, because I'm gonna have like Q's tour manager on the podcast. Like, what? Like,
Okay.
That's such a random out there thing, but I like to
So
explore.
what if you like knit and crochet and shit?
Fuck, get in there and show me some shit,
Content,
bro. Yeah.
work in progress, time lapse.
Because
videos.
but you even asked, I think, didn't you hit me up and you were asking questions about, was it about a camera or what? Maybe this is Joey. Maybe Joey messaged me. Was it about
Might
cameras?
have been Joey.
Yeah, Joey's asking me about a camera, and
I'm
Joey's
just using the 8+ over here. That's my camera.
there. You go. Yeah,
Yeah.
that shit looks fantastic.
Is
But
what
like
it
some
is.
people don't even know that you can do that. Some people are spending a ton of money on cameras when
I
you can
used to
just use
think
your
that.
iPhone.
Be resourceful. Like,
Exactly.
you don't have to go and blow your wad on.
That's the type
most
of shit I'm
expensive-
talking about. These
Yeah.
conversations should happen. Like when we talk about this, I want them to happen in fucking Black with No Cream. I want it to be in there where like you might come in and be like, hey, this is what I did, and I used to use these big cameras, now I just use my iPhone. What do you think the difference is? And you're just starting that conversation. People are like, oh shit, that's fucking sick. I didn't know that was possible.
What made you choose Facebook group over Slack?
I've never even heard of Slack, so that's probably why I chose Facebook.
All right,
What's
word.
Slack? Is Slack dope?
Slack, yeah, it's like a messaging app. Like I use it with some of my people in my mastermind group, but then there's big communities too. That it's a community platform.
Okay,
You
word.
could drop emails and stuff to each
That's
other.
dope.
Yeah.
I mean, this is it. Basically, I looked at it like I could have created my own forum, and I used to get on forums when I was way young. Like back in the day, we'd be on forums all day long, and I could do that. But we are so tuned in and addicted and trained to get on a few social platforms every day.
Mhm.
So it's whether it's Instagram, Twitter, whatever. I'm trying to get on Facebook, even though it's trash, even though everything that's on there is garbage. Even if I wanted to have a fan page there, fan pages don't matter.
Ass.
You can't do shit with a fan page. Like, it's irrelevant. But
groups. Yeah.
I would be in Iowa, or I'd be in LA, still a part of a Cedar Falls for sales page. And this is what made me think I needed to do this, is that even though I was in a different state, I would still see notifications pop up every once in a while that was like, oh, this is for sale. And I'd be like, oh, damn, I kind of want to see what's in there. And I would click on it, even though I'm not even there. Why am I checking what's for sale there?
And you see the updates better than
It's
on a
way
page
better.
where you have to pay for it.
Yes.
Like those coffee mugs and stuff. There's
Yeah.
these coffee addict places that like black coffee, and they like are huge on the Deneen pottery stuff.
Right,
so
right,
like
right.
instead of like Deneen selling them through their pages, like all these people announce release times and stuff within these groups, and that's how those all sold out so fast.
The group,
like I discovered an amazing community within these groups, and they all talk and share, and they pin stuff to the top for you.
So
and
dope.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
groups are amazing. So
Yeah.
Facebook is the way. I've even thought about it, but I don't know if I can handle one other thing right now.
The
I'm
one
like,
thing that sold me, though, is this. Facebook changed their mission statement for the first time ever, and it was this year. This is right before I had already decided I was going to do Facebook groups because I was like, yo, this is the only thing that's still working. They changed the mission statement. I'm not going to quote it because I can't remember it. If you want to add it
give
to
a
your show.
synopsis.
It's like, it's about communities. Basically, I guess what happened was, what's the motherfucker's name that owns that shit?
Zuckerberg.
He went around to every state or something and like basically met with communities. He would go meet with church communities. He'd meet with Islamic communities. He'd meet with like gay rights communities. He'd meet with all these different groups, right?
Diverse focus groups in a sense.
Everything.
Yeah.
And you just want to see how they interacted, and they're so drawn together. So if you think about it, if you're in a need and if you have problems and you're looking to rent a place, go here and people are going to suggest places for you to rent, or people are going to tell you, oh, hey, if you are dealing with cancer, these are ways to like battle it, and we should all be here for each other and cheer each other on because we all relate. So he's focused on that and changed his mission statement to be something about group oriented. Like he wanted to be community based and push for communities. And I'm like, yo, this is only going to get better. Like groups will only get better. And if it all goes away tomorrow, it's all good. Like we'll find each other, but at least for now it's there. And everyone that's using it so far from my experience is like, yo, I actually like Facebook again because I get on there and my feed is just full of Black with No Cream shit. I
Things
can't,
that you're actually interested
Yeah.
in, not someone's sappy ass drama
stupid shit
that makes no sense. You're just whining for attention.
Yeah, and I'm like,
Yeah.
cool. Like now I get on there and I see new videos and new experiments and new photographs and new fucking drawings and everything that these people are posting, new music, and they're all just sharing it. Like, hey man, what do you guys think about this? And I just love the idea of being in a place where you could start a conversation with someone, meet someone, and potentially meet up with them. And it's worked. Like there's a kid doing a meetup for a Black with No Cream unofficial meetup in the
dope.
UK.
That's so dope.
That's crazy.
That's
What
awesome.
the fuck?
So how did the Facebook group community started first before you turned it into a podcast?
Yeah.
So you have a weekly podcast. I
Yes.
believe it's every Sunday.
Yeah, every Sunday. I'm gonna try to start making it every Sunday at 6, just so it's even more dialed in. But we'll get there, guys. I'm working on it. But yeah, I started the podcast, a few months after I started the group, and just having the group there, and I wanted to be as involved as possible. I'm commenting on everybody's posts. I'm trying to be there as active as possible. And then I had such a weird. I'm good. One of my strengths are talking to people. Like I'm very fucking good at getting to know someone really quickly, or
Boil it down to a micro connection.
Yeah.
To immediately have something in common.
instantly.
Yeah, that's a talent, dude.
Yeah, it's not easy, and I see people struggle with it, but I'm like, all right, cool. If I'm good at talking with someone, becoming friends with someone, then what if I just have these conversations and record them? Because I get mad value out of that shit.
Yeah.
Some of those conversations I've had over the years, I'm like, damn, dude, I can't. Like, I'll remember that forever, but no one will ever know what I talked to that person about, you know. And so I just think, all right, cool. If I got this pool of people, let's just start talking to the ones I know. And then eventually I'll start talking to the people I don't know, offer recommendations from people I know. And then who knows what this will turn into. But I just think the podcast gives us such a longer, in-depth, like, dive into just more advice. Like, this is what you're doing. Like, that's obviously what podcasts are. And
Bringing insight
it's always insight.
from other people. It's all about perspective.
Tell me your
and-
story and let me learn from what your
Exactly.
mistakes
It's
were.
like I have these conversations anyway with Skype one-on-one with people. Why not record it in such an interview format where there's some structure, but really it's a conversation.
Exactly, and it's been fun. I'm fucking obsessed with it. Like,
So what kind of guests do you have on?
so far I've had like my homie who did he's Chris Brown's photographer. He's been with him since like forever. His story is fucking nuts. He's from Australia and became Chris's photographer. And I had him. I had my homie that did ASAP Ferg's photography. He shot for a bunch of different people. He actually shot for that kid Lil Peep who just passed away. I don't know if you heard about that. I have my friend Justin Odisho, who has a YouTube channel where he just teaches Premiere tutorials. Like, if you've ever like wanted to know something about video shit, he's got you covered. My friend Cal Scrooby, who's a rapper. I've had Oliver Francis, who's a rapper from Missouri, who's like had the weirdest story ever, where he just posted one video a month and now he's famous.
I saw Tim Dodd and
Dodd's
Travis Lloyd too.
Yep.
So really, is your focus on bringing in content creators that can bring value to your community?
Yeah.
Is that the main focus?
100%.
Is bringing them value, your community?
Yeah, because I look at it like we're if we can have a good conversation, then my 1,700 or whatever people that are in the group, if I share it to them, they could benefit from that. So when they come there for resources, it's like, you don't just have this, you have this as well. So I'm putting two things out there that could benefit us a little bit more, you know? And for me too, like it helps me learn, you know what I mean? I know I've heard a majority of the stories come from like when I think, oh, I'm going to interview Scotty, we could talk about something today and learn something, which, by the way, guys, we're recording a podcast right after
We're doing
this podcast.
back-to-back here.
Yeah, so he'll be on my shit. But I could talk to you about one of your success stories or something I'm knowledgeable about, but there's probably 10 other stories I have no idea about that will happen to trip on in conversation. There's so much value in that.
Mm-hmm.
And I love learning. Like, I'm obsessed with learning.
Yeah.
So if we can kick it for an hour, 2 hours, whatever, and chop it up, like, all right, cool, let's do it.
I'd rather cut through the fluff and like dig to some value. Like just having a fluffy conversation with someone.
man.
It's like, no, let's cut through the bullshit.
Yeah.
You know, tell me a little bit about yourself. I'll tell you a little about me, and we can find some common ground and figure out something new.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
it's cool because it's like I just had TF on the podcast, which will come out soon, like next weekend probably. And TF is on Q's album, and he's on the song called Tukey Knows, which is like probably one of the bigger songs on that shit. And so we went on tour together, and they would just come out during him and this other dude, Traffic, would come out and perform during that shit. And so TF became like one of my closest friends, and he just talked about being he's a Crip from LA. He's been in prison for like 8 years out of his life. You know what I mean? For the stories this dude shared are so wild, which are completely different than what Justin Odisho or Tim Dodd's talking about. You know what I mean? So the diversity and the conversations we're having are so crazy. And like even on Twitter the other day, like one of my friends is Ryan Philippi.
Yeah.
And he just like saw that I was doing the podcast and like tweeted about like, dude, I'll do it if you come up to the house. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Like, you want to talk about Cruel Intentions and shit? Like, all right, cool. He's a huge actor in the 90s. So it's like these possibilities are so cool to me that we could just chop it up for whatever, and it's like minimal gear to have, and I could just get some cool product out there that's usable and resourceful.
Valuable.
You know? Very valuable.
Content that means something, tells a story,
Yeah.
gives an experience. So
You were like my earliest inspiration for this shit, though. Low key, for real. I would listen to this because I didn't really pay attention to podcasts till maybe when I was still on the couch, like in my air mattress. And I remember doing receipts. I was like doing my taxes and shit. And this is right before you started yours. And that's obviously I tripped on Joe Rogan's not because of Joe Rogan or how cool his podcast was, but because I saw he did a Kid Cudi interview. And I listened to him talk to Kid Cudi for 3 hours, which I thought was insane.
That's my favorite podcast.
It's so dope.
Besides my own.
Yeah, that's right. But like I heard that and I was like, holy shit. And then I obviously listened to more. And then you come out with yours. You're like, yo, I'm doing this thing. I'm like, all right, I'm going to hear what this is all about. I'm listening to your show. I'm like, yo, this is dope. Like,
it's the early days.
he's sitting there motivating the fuck out of me in like 15 minutes. I'm like,
can't listen past episode 1 through 10.
Damn, I listened to them all. I was like, this is sick for sure. And then, I don't know, as soon as I realized I could do it too, I'm like, okay, cool. And I hate to be like the guy jumping on the train late, but like, who gives a fuck?
No,
like, there's something you can learn from mine. There's something you can learn from the next one. Like, I don't know.
That's funny because I felt like D-Mac and I, when we were doing Daydreaming Clothing, were trying to mimic what you were doing back in the day in content creation.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, so it's been a circle.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's insane. I would have never thought that. But so you operate under the name BenRealVsworld.
Yeah.
All right,
Yep.
and Black with No Cream. Where do you see you taking BenRealVsworld in the next 5-10 years? What's your goal and what keeps you hungry?
I mean, it's definitely Black with No Cream. I'm fucking obsessed with it. And I think that the value it's brought to people in the few months it's been alive is incredible. And now the fact I just got an intern, which is cool. And I got the intern. I didn't post about it on my Instagram. I didn't post it. It's just in Black with No Cream.
Higher within the community.
Yeah. So I had like 20-some kids reach out and want to be an intern for me. And I narrowed it down to like 8 that were just crazy ill. And I was like, fuck, I want to choose all of them. The ability to be able to network and work with people is sick to me. So like my theory was, if I start this community, eventually if I have a project where I need a VFX guy, my VFX guy's busy, and I can go to my list of who creates VFX in Black with No Cream. Oh shit, 10 of them.
That's so dope.
And I can tune in and I could say, yo, here's work, bro. I'll pay you to do jobs, and you live in fucking North Dakota. You know what I mean?
And they're in your community already, so you know they align with like your values and where you're trying to take things. So like that's an easy no decision.
Yeah, so we're doing that. Just trying to build a company. I'm in the midst of like starting a production company too with Andrew Sandler, my homie Mike. So we're like building something out there, which the goal of that is like not to build some sort of dynasty where we're at the top, but it's to empower all those around us. So we can use our resources, our knowledge to get certain jobs, and we're not afraid to outsource for shit. You know what I mean? So I don't know how many times I'm always sending work to people and trying to like collaborate, and I could be making money off all that shit, but I'm like, stupid. Like,
damn, that's dope. I feel like I need a Facebook group right now.
Start one. I don't know why the fuck you don't have one.
I don't know.
It's fun. It's addicting, dude.
Yeah,
because
like I'm like putting shit out on all different platforms, looking for someone to edit my podcast. Luckily, I got someone from Ireland helping me out now.
That's
but it's
dope.
like I have a community, but I don't have like a central hub.
Yo, it's amazing.
All right, I'm sold.
Do it. You gotta try it.
I'm sold. Okay.
You gotta get in Black with No Cream. Are you in it?
No, I need to get in it.
I'll add you
I didn't
today.
think it was for me. I had no idea.
No, it's all about. That's the thing.
I was thinking it was
I'm
just
fucking
photo
up.
and video.
No, my marketing's fucking up then, because I say even in the podcast, it's like, yo, this is for everybody, like all content creators of all kinds, like calling all
it's the
creators.
magic of 7. You take someone 7 times to actually like hear something and understand it and
That's
listen
true.
to it. So magic of 7. This might be like 10th. I'm a
Yeah,
little
it's
slow.
yeah.
Sometimes I've had a little too much fun over the years. Before we go into rapid fire questions. What's one piece of advice you'd give to a creative who struggles starting or sticking with producing content?
Give up. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
And we're done.
Yeah, we're done. No, I would say if you feel like you're struggling, there's 50 other people that are around you that are struggling too, and you need to think, how will I beat them? Because they all want it just as bad as you. How will I beat everyone else that is having a hard time coming up with these ideas? Because like I sit there and they'll be like, hey, come up with a treatment for this, and I will smash my head against a wall. Like I think of ideas every day and I can't think of any ideas right now, and this is the hardest thing. And you want to quit immediately, but I just sit there and I stay patient and I focus on it and I try to come up with my few things that'll help me get in the mindset, and all of a sudden it clicks, right?
What are those few things?
I don't know. It might be like I ride my electric skateboard dangerously through LA, or like listen to other podcasts, or try to listen to some music and just try to get amped up about something. Switch it up. Just switch that shit up. Like if I'm sitting there watching Game of Thrones every day and I'm in that mindset, and all of a sudden I go out and ride my skateboard and just listen to like old Kanye, like College Dropout or something. That's completely different, and I'm now in a different mindset, and I'm hyped and I'm energetic, and before I was so focused on story and listening to story. Like that's crazy how that works.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah. So stimulate yourself differently.
Yeah, absolutely. But other than that, and don't be afraid to ask for help. But when you ask for help, this is what one other thing I try to teach people in Black with No Cream is like, I get a lot of people that ask me questions, and I know they're young creators too, right? A lot of these kids are brand new young creators. They ask questions without truly thinking about what they're asking, and it's frustrating for me because I look at it like when I was in Iowa, DMs weren't as easy to send back then. And so I look at it like as the elevator pitch. I always compare it to an elevator pitch, but I have like one shot, one opportunity to seize everything.
Oh my God, I watched 8 Mile the other week.
I know, I saw it on Netflix. I was like, oh, it's trending.
Yep.
But I look at it like that. So if I'm going to write you a message and take up your time, I think about that. A lot of young creators don't think about how they're taking up your time. They look at you like, hey, you have Instagram, and hey, you'll answer my question because you see this, but they don't realize you have 15 other of those questions today. They don't understand that you have a 14-hour workday too on top of all the shit. So when they ask questions like, hey, man, which camera should I get? What? Dog, please take time to ask me the real question, which is, hey, I am interested in shooting shows. This is the amount of money I have so far. These are the cameras I've researched already, and this is what I like about them. Do you suggest any of these? Like, if you're going to ask me a question, please fucking Google this shit first.
That's, in the world I live in too, that's how much you charge for logo? And it's like, have some context behind it, you know? Like,
for what?
Exactly. I'm like, that's immediately going to the trash can.
Every time.
And
you're talking about money, too. You're talking about maybe potentially paying me money. But immediately I'm already off that, and I'm not interested in your money because you're so arrogant in the way you're asking the question.
I can't take you serious.
I can't take you serious.
So, like,
ever.
Exactly. I'm trying to, like, write a first draft of an email of something to someone who I'm going to ask something for or try to hire.
Yeah, exactly.
So, like, be thoughtful and think through how you're going to be asking
Absolutely. The research and the preparation will do so much better for you than sending out 100
Context
DMs.
is everything.
Please fucking think about it and research it. I've had so many people DM me and ask me like, yo, can I send you beats? And it's funny because it's like, yeah, I rapped before, right? I haven't rapped in years, but I work with rappers. So you've tripped on my channel for some reason. You don't know why yet. And you're just asking me to send me music. And I'm like, why? And they'll be like, oh, I don't know. I was just thinking that you could do something for me.
Plug it.
What? You didn't even look at my channel to see that the last 3 pictures of myself were with cameras. The last 4 photos before that are photographs of other people. My fucking profile says I'm a photographer. I'm a videographer. Like, you're not doing any research.
No research.
That's the best tip. Please do research. Please think about how you want to talk to this person, how this person would want to be talked about or talked to, and then that's going to create a dialogue. I'll respect anyone that's like, hey, man, I've been listening to you. I've honestly only known about you for 3 weeks, but I've looked past for the last year. Your shit is sick. The shit you did a year ago is sick. Like, if you can't even give a profile like the time to like look back and scroll back a year's worth of time.
You're like speaking to everything I deal with.
Crazy, right? Please,
routine.
I try to teach that every day in Black with No Cream. That's like my biggest goal for kids because I think that will instantly change how people get jobs. You know what I mean? Like,
I totally agree.
they just think it's too accessible, too easy.
Be
whatever.
professional.
These are rapid questions? Damn. Was that a rapid question?
No, that was the last one before the rapid.
All right, good. I'll shorten this shit up for
No,
sure.
no, you're good. All right, rapid fire. And I'm timing you.
Oh,
no, I'm just kidding.
I was like,
if you were on death row, what would your favorite slice of pizza be?
I'm a bitch. Cheese.
From where?
Papa John's.
Damn, you're a bitch. No, I'm just kidding.
Damn, I for real like Papa John's cheese pizza. It's so fire.
That's all right. If I had one, it'd be Casey's pepperoni.
Damn it, I should have. All right, Casey's breakfast pizza.
Casey, okay. Yeah,
All right, I changed it.
I'll give it to you.
If you don't know, that was, hey, this is a
gas station pizza, man.
I know I said I wouldn't rant, but on tour with Q, we go to Des Moines. In Des Moines, it's his birthday, right? Happens to be in Iowa. He didn't want to go purposely just to fuck up, like to be like, I don't want to be in your city.
Yeah.
Like talking shit. Like, I don't want to be in your city on my birthday. I'm going to fly back to LA and cancel the show. I'm like, shut up, bitch. And we get to Des Moines, and I wake up, and we happen to be across the street from Casey's. And I was like, oh, shit. Hopped on the scooter, rode over there, grabbed a large breakfast pizza. And I come back to the bus. I'm like, yo, this is the shit.
Bacon, sausage, or both?
Bacon, sausage.
All right.
Get back. I'm like, yo, this is it. I promise you. Everyone's like, no, that's disgusting. Breakfast pizza, what the fuck? We ain't doing that. No one's ever heard of it. And I'm like, dude, I swear. And I'm sitting there. Big Mingo comes in, a security guard. He's like, oh, what's this, champion? Like, let me try some of this. He hops in. That's pretty good. I'm like, I told you it was good. Everyone starts getting it. Then they go and order like 3 more because they're like, oh, shit. Casey's breakfast pizza put Iowa on the map.
I saw Barstool Sports. You know them?
Yep.
Yeah, they were at the Hawks game when it was like a big game earlier this year, and they went and reviewed Casey's Pizza, and the dude was hating on it. He was like, oh, it's too much bacon. I'm like,
oh, my God.
You're a white-ass grown male complaining about bacon?
Bacon, yeah. What
Come
the fuck?
on, man.
Damn.
All right. That wasn't rapid. No, I go on tangents, too, especially when it's about pizza.
It's tough, man. Pizza's good.
Here's a new one I like to ask people. I got this from Trevor Carlson, so shout out to him.
Shout out to Trevor.
What's something new you learned this week?
This week? Damn, rapid is hard to do. And I was trying to think about the value in this coming back home, but I think it's take time for yourself. Me being home, it's been nonstop go, and to just be around my family has changed my whole mood and mindset. Especially coming out of 2017, 2018 is right around the corner. Just being able to soak in alone time or family time away from work and all that shit has been a dream. Like, just enjoy those moments. Whoever inspires you or keeps you happy, or you might not see them that often, try to get a few minutes with them. That's the tip.
Nah, dope. It's something I needed to hear. What program would you live in each day if you had a choice?
Program like TV?
No.
Like application?
Like Golden Girls. No, this is application based, like Premiere.
Oh,
or
yeah.
After Effects.
Nah, Premiere for sure. Like Premiere is fucking. I love Lightroom too, though.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I figured that I wasn't sure if it'd be photo based or video based.
I would say it'd be
iMovie.
All Adobe. iMovie.
That's how you started, right?
I used iMovie, then I used Windows Movie Maker. I think it was actually switched around. I don't know. I used all this shit.
I started in Microsoft Paint.
Yeah.
So
shout out. So did I. Fuck, back
shout
in the
out
day.
to Microsoft Paint.
Yeah.
How are you still alive?
Send me money.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be for sure Adobe.
All right, last two. Who's an artist, designer, or creative who's killing it lately?
I have 2. Can I give you 2?
Of course.
My guy DJ Slim, which I think you would really fuck with. I'll show you his images afterwards. You can
I'll put him in the show notes.
Yeah, show notes. He's like a really, really ill painter. He draws too and shit. And he toured with us for a little bit on Q's tour as the opener DJ. Q's DJ had to leave for a few days. He ended up filling in and became Q's DJ on the shit, which was crazy because he's TSA. That's where he comes from, TSA and LAX.
Okay.
And he's just the illest drawer and kept that a secret for a long time. And I heard it. I'm like, what? I see his shit. I actually got him in the love video for Kendrick. He did a mural on the side of the wall that he worked day and night for this shit and just trying to come up with something. It's in there, so you gotta check him out. And then Gibson Hazard. Gibson Hazard's like this kid that's just been crushing shit on the internet. Everyone that does tour videos or anything that related to hip hop, they're looking up to him right now. That's just my homie because he's just been crushing shit since he started and young and sick. So check out Gibson and Slim.
Word. Awesome. Yeah, I'll link those.
And Perspective Collective.
Hey,
God damn it.
No, you can't use that.
Yeah.
That's cheating.
No, it ain't.
So where can people go to find you online? How can people connect with you through BenRealVsworld as well as Black with No Cream?
Yeah, Instagram is what I use the most, so BenRealVsworld on there. I just say that because it's always been, every time I try to do shit in groups, it never really works out, so it's always me against the world type of thing, so BenRealVsworld. And then any other thing, like, even if you have questions and shit, I love for you to ask me them, but join Black with No Cream first, because if we're going to have a conversation about something that you have a question about, I'd rather it be in front of people than in the DMs, because someone else can benefit from that. So
blackwithnocream.com/join.
Join, yeah, or bwnc.com/join. My homie just fucking bought that domain for $3,500 for me. Ridiculous.
What?
Yeah, that's a whole nother thing. Shout out to my boy Craig. He heard me talk about it.
Initial based? Was that much?
It was
someone owned it?
bwnc.com was $3,500. You couldn't negotiate with them. It was fucking trash. And I was like, come on, man, I can't do that. And me and Tim Dow were actually talking about it on our podcast. He was talking about how he was trying to buy
Everyday Astronaut
for like $400 or $500.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I told him this. And Craig texted me, yo, check your PayPal. And then I'm like, yo, I'm not taking this from you, dog. He's like, shut up and just buy it, bro. And I was like, fuck.
Okay.
Yeah, so now I have it. Shout out to Craig. He's the dude I slept on his floor. Craig's house is legendary house. Like, crazy.
Perfect, man.
But it's just that. blackwithnocream.com/join, whatever. And then I'm on everything else, Twitter, Facebook, all that shit. But
well, dude, thank you so much for finally getting together and making time for this, man. It's been a long time coming, and I know there's going to be a niche people in this listener group that's like, this is going to hit home with, who, feels like shit needs to be handed to them in a sense.
Yeah. I hope they benefit from it, and thank you for fucking doing this shit for people, because they need this shit. And if you are coming from my people, you need to check out Scotty's shit and use public speak now, which is sick.
A little bit.
For a while, last 2 years or whatever.
Last 2 years, yep.
So go catch this motherfucker if he's local to you. His shit will inspire you. I saw that video of you at Creative South.
Creative South, yeah.
And that was tight.
It was pretty crazy, man. So I'll be back there teaching a workshop this year. So
really?
Getting involved with that. Yeah, that place changed my life. But
that's
thank
crazy,
you
man.
for putting Iowa on the map, man. We'll keep in touch.
Yeah, for sure.
Safe travels back to Cali. Get warm.
Let's do our podcast.
All right, let's record now. Back to back. All right, peace. So there you have it. That is my good friend Ben Haggerty, BenRealVsworld. It's been amazing watching this dude's career take off. Like he said earlier, I've had front row seats to watch this dude's career skyrocket from making silly little YouTube videos to, opening on stage in front of some of the most famous rappers out there like J. Cole, to now seeing him not only create content for some of the biggest names, but have a group of about 2,000 people that, he's built this community and he's providing value to people and helping other people spark their careers. If you're looking to gain an edge in content creation as well, I can't recommend enough jumping in his Black with No Cream group. I'm in the group and I see all the millions of conversations going on each day. And honestly, I'm pretty inspired to start my own group for the Perspective Collective community as well, because so many of you guys ask me questions. And I think by next week, I'll have a Facebook group ready to plug so I can really interact with you guys, because it's so hard to respond to every email and respond to every message and respond to every questions. Like, I need one central hub to do it all, because otherwise it just gets too overwhelming. So I'll be announcing that next week, so just stick with me. Let's get to the dose of inspiration for this week. This week, the dose of inspiration is Tom Armand, who goes by Dest, aka DE2S on Instagram. And I discovered his account early in December, and it's full of insane Procreate lettering videos. They are wild. And what's even better is the curated checkerboard shot that you have if you see their full portfolio in one. And it creates this little gradient color flow within it. It's extremely clever. His work is brilliant. He really pushes the boundaries, and each piece is extremely vibrant and unique. You got to go give this guy a follow over on Instagram at DE2S. If you're enjoying what you hear and you want to support the growth of this show, I have a few ways you can make that happen. The first way is becoming a backer at patreon.com/perspectivepodcast. Not only can you donate per episode with as little as much as a coffee per week, but I try to hook you up with some rewards, so really it's a win-win for both of us. And the second way you support the show is for you crypto junkies out there. In the show notes for each episode, I'm going to have an address for Bitcoin, Ether, or Litecoin donations if you prefer to go that route. Or finally, you can leave a ratings and review over at iTunes. Please leave the review part. It not only helps the show get discovered, but it gives me an opportunity to give you a nice little thank you plug, like this week's rating and review from Adam Vickerell. And if you've listened recently, he was one of the Dose of Inspirations, and he's going to be January 31st, Wednesday's episode at the end of this month. So Adam writes, "This review is long overdue. I've been picking up motivation through this podcast from Scotty for months now. It feels like every episode speaks directly to something I personally am going through in my creative career, and Scotty's ability to be truly relatable reminds me that I'm not alone. It's a blessing that this goodness is for free. My only qualm is that at the end of each 15-minute episode, I want more." And if you haven't checked Adam out yet, Adam is an extremely talented hand lettering artist, a branding extraordinaire, and an adventure enthusiast. You can check him out at Adam Vickerell on Instagram. He's one hell of a dude. And as I wrap things up, I need to give a huge shout out to Nick Jenkins of Blookah for all the dope theme music you hear on this show. Check him out at SoundCloud or on Instagram at Blookah. That's BLOOKIH. And as you finish off your week strong, I want to encourage you to keep showing up, keep putting in the work, and keep creating. You got this.